John Davis. I'm from Northeast Ohio. Right now I live in Salem, but I grew up in a little town called Homeworth when I was a kid. Me, it was different than most people. I grew up on an ostrich farm, so it was a bit of a wild adventure out there compared to, I think, what everyone else was doing with, cows. Cows were a good time, but I think ostriches were a different level. I mean, same as most, you just kind of, fed them when they needed food, gave them water. It was more so like how you do chickens. When you get the eggs, you hatch them, you grow, and you move them from stages as teenager to adult, and then off to the butcher, because that's pretty much what we did for the majority of the time that we had that farm. You see, again, life and death, so much happening on a farm, but grateful for all of it. The food you get to eat, the necessary things that have to, happen to move the process along, because people got to eat, bro. Yeah, I started football in 3rd grade, played flag football for a while. Played from junior high through high school, a little bit of wrestling, and then 1 year of track. Yeah, within a year's time of graduation, I decided that, trying to go to college wasn't going to be an option. That wasn't really for me. Didn't really feel the process of them trying to get me into a school, because I had an opportunity, but I was like, man, I didn't like regular school, so I didn't think I was gonna like 4 more years of that. But once I made that decision and moved over to join the Marine Corps. Boot camp was fun. You had to work real hard and make sure you were getting everything done that you needed to be as ready as possible for what the training opportunities that were, in the sights of what your future was going to be there. I was ready for it because that's kind of how lifestyle was beforehand. So it was an easy transition, I'd say, compared to a lot of others. Everybody breaks at a certain point, because you're up for 3 days when you get down there. You're doing paperwork. You're getting pushed from here to there. You're just confused and discombobulated as much as possible. But I think everybody breaks at a certain point, even after that. Whether it's a workout or finally they just get to you mentally. Because if you screw one thing up, you get picked on for a long time, and it's not, until someone else does something, you're the one that's going to get it for a while. But I took a lot from the experience, and now I'm grateful for so much of it. My dad was in the Marine Corps, and my buddy's dad was a helicopter pilot, so he would fly to our school and drop the helicopter down for us to see his kids. So it was a real normal thing for all of us to know that that was an option, from people who were only in it for 4 years, people who were in it for life. It was really an opportunity, I think, for a lot of people to get out of being out there in the middle of EFE, other than going to work for whatever company you get in, and you're supposed to work for the next 65 years of your life. Unfortunately, I got hurt. Ironically, my left shoulder blew out and ended my Marine Corps career, because at a certain point, after a bunch of testing, they said that even if I had got surgery on base and stayed there, once I was fully recovered, I was not allowed to stay in. And after I went home and got my own surgery done through regular family insurance, I tried to go back, but they wouldn't let me. So I kind of had to, after 2 tries, I kind of had to give up on what I thought was going to be, not just the way out, but honestly probably a career for life if possible. The thing that bugged me the most was starting and not being able to finish. Because I've never, once that process is done and over with, and they say we can't take you again, you're never going to be able to do that again. It's like some other stuff. If you're banned from somewhere, you're not allowed to go. You're not allowed to go there. So dealing with that definitely took a toll on me in a multitude of ways, because it was like, oh, I'm going to be able to, and then I couldn't rely on that anymore. So really having to, being a workaholic and at 20, I gotta think here, so I was 20 by the time I started, or 20 by the time I had surgery, and then by the time I was 21, I was working at a blue-collar job running machines. But I would work ungodly hours, man. I mean, like, I would average 50 hours of overtime. I'd work 7 days a week. I'd go home, go to sleep, wake up at odd hours and go in and just, you know, it sounds good because you know you're making money, you know, that's what you're supposed to do with your life, but there's more purpose than just, because like I ran myself to death almost, on top of, you know, a bunch of other stuff in life. Met my wife at the gym many years ago now. We've been together for going on almost 9. So it's been a journey growing with her, especially with, you know, our family's grown to 4 beautiful kids. I won 4 times, everybody. Whoop! Before I ever got to power slap, I won 4 times. But it was probably one of the most life-changing things that I never expected to happen. And as it's carried on, with the more, you know, the more we've grown the family, the longer we've been together, the more stuff that we go through together and grow as not just individuals, but as a family and as a husband and a wife. I couldn't ask for anybody better to be in my life. Yeah, that train actually went through my town. You know, you can see video camera from people's ring cams, and at the bar there, I think they got on security video of it shooting sparks going down the road, so it could have just as easily been my town. But it's sketchy because it sounds like, yeah, we cleaned it up. It reminds me of the whole Obama drinking the water at Michigan. Look, I'm drinking the water. They're like, oh, look, we cleaned things up, but did you really? You know, I can say whatever reports sound like things are getting better up there, but can I honestly believe it? I don't know. Once I got into my later 20s, yeah, it wasn't so much in, you know, I wasn't focused on anything athletically in my early 20s at that point, between, you know, leaving school sports, and then after the Marine Corps, I had to take time off because of the surgery and everything. So I really didn't get back into, you know, anything athletic till after I had started working and started working out regular with my one boss. So that definitely was where, you know, I found that spark again where, hey, if you do this, it feels a hell of a lot better than when you're not doing anything. Yeah, shout out to Next Level Alliance in Alliance, Ohio, where I train, the Bean family. Jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai there. It's a great place for family. You know, they do kids classes and everything like that. So it's a real family-oriented place. And also the weight room, so that way you can work out in between if you're only doing one class. But you know, I got into it 3 years now ago. I think about 3 years ago when I started training there, right before, you know, power slap became a thing. So I had about a year's time of jiu-jitsu, and, you know, my Muay Thai I've just tried to work on a little bit more so recently. But you know, at an amateur level, I would have liked to have competed, but at this point right now, you know, I got to focus on what's going on here, and keeping my body in check for this until I'm done with it is, you know, the main goal and priority, as much as I would like to do any of the other stuff. You know, game bred bare knuckle, it sounds like fun, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. The power is on.
By luck, I stumbled across it, honestly. Speaking of the amateur scene, for an amateur career and anything else, I was looking into the amateur fighting in the area, what little promotions there were, you know, the rankings that they have set up to see, you know, what people, how old people were, if people were still competing, you know, what it was actually like their level compared to, you know, just watching the UFC on the TV, because it's not like I'm gonna hop in the UFC real quick. Well, I don't think that, because I'm not that dumb. But looking for the amateur fights just to see what popped up, where, you know, how close, how often, how legit things might actually be. One day, all of these ads popped up in like 3 of the forums about slap fighting and needing people. And of course, at first I was like, whatever, and I'm not interested in that. and then, you know, scrolled through it for another day or two, and it was still there, popping up every day. And then finally, I just clicked on it to read. There was like 3 comments, and I can't even remember what I posted something, and then the next thing you know, it was like, message me. I was like, fine. So once I started talking to the producers that were actually working for the TBS show that we did, you know, that was how I stumbled into them when they asked, hey, do you want to do this on TV? And I had no idea it was going to be related to Dana or, you know, any of the UFC stuff or any of the powers that be.
Look at this belt!
Oh! Looking at me?
You're a disrespectful little shit, bro. Go for it.
Talk shit like that, cause we're gonna fucking bang. Hey, you.
The beautiful thing about this thing is you get to slap the shit out of all the people you don't like.
It was wild, you know. As much fun as there was to be had, there was a lot of just ridiculous stuff that sucked to deal with when you were in there. I think the biggest part of it is that whole pressure cooker aspect of the no music, the no TV, the no communication, you know. For a lot of us, it was the first time we've had to go that long without talking to families or, you know, for people who are used to just communicating with folks all day long, whether it's family or not. You get that cut off, and you have to be in the house with these people with cameras on you 24/7. You know, it can make or break people. And yes, part of the reason why things, you know, were as crazy as they were at that house within the first 3 days, let alone the whole, you know, amount of time we were there.
John Machine Davis coming in with a 3-1 record with 1 knockout. You can feel it here in the Apex. A Tale of Tape brought to you by 10X. 10X your business, 10X your income, 10X your life. Go to CardoneVentures.com.
Man, to this day, probably one of the most unexplainable moments, because it just was such an adrenaline dump and a rush that it got to the point where, like, I didn't even know what I was saying anymore afterwards. I was just yelling DL because I didn't know any other way to express how, like, I didn't even know what was going on, really. I was just like, holy cow, I can't believe that it just went down that way, and I'm standing here with the belt wrapped around me, you know, taking pictures afterwards that get hung up in the UFC Apex.
John Davis changed his life forever when he won the Power Slap middleweight title back in March. Now it's his job to keep that belt around his waist by halting the first challenger, Oklahoma's Wesley Drake.
Yeah, Power Slap 2 against Wesley. No, I was excited for that fight, very much so, because from the very beginning, since we were OGs, we both thought coming into the house, since we were at middleweight, that it was very likely going to be us competing at some point in time. And you know, if things continued the way they were, since we were on the same team, it would be likely for, you know, possibly a title. And, you know, I think the hype that we had for it didn't unfortunately play out in that fight for how, I mean, the entire thing went.
Azael Rodriguez, the wild child of the Slap House. John Machine Davis coming in with a 3-1 record.
This matchup is against Azael. This is the second time we get to go up to the table and compete.
Shakes it off.
The first time I was able to come away with probably the cleanest hit that I've ever put on anybody. So if I can go out there and sleep him again on the first one, I absolutely will.
You know, other than when we're up there competing, you know, absolutely cordial. He's a good dude. He works hard. He's out there busting ass, trying to, you know, he wants to do the same thing that I've been able to do since, you know, they gave me the title opportunity. So I think that's what everybody wants when they're competing at this right now, to be able to be at the top and, you know, claim what is the, you know, the belt and the glory. So I think it's really motivated him to work hard and change his life, which not just him, but a lot of people throughout this entire thing. I think it's really helped. As much as people think it may hurt, you know. But other than that, you know, he asked how things were going with the family and everything. When I talked to him, I asked how he's doing and what he's been up to. You know, it's nice to be able to compete with people and have a respect level outside of the competition, because we're all, at the end of the day, we're all still just people. I think I'll compete at the level of my competition and then just a little bit more every time. So no matter who it is or, you know, who finally shows up whenever I get the phone call, I think I have an edge against just about anybody at this point. I was hoping for a fight, but when it comes to what next in the career, it just open to opportunities. See, you know, what can I do? I need to definitely level up in a multitude of ways, not just in power slap as the champion, but in life. So I just got to put in the work. I got to get my nose to the grindstone and really start getting back after it. I'll start with the storybook ending would be able to just hold on to the belt until I'm done at middleweight. If I'm able to snag another one, I think that would be a real big accomplishment. You know, I don't know about a double champ status, whether we'd ever get that opportunity, but there's got to be a first for everything. And I feel like a long reign to the end of a 185-pound career and a possible one shot, 170 title shot, and then out the door. But I have to be able to get that far first, you know, that's again the storybook, but I don't know exactly how long I'm gonna be doing it, man. You know, I think I kind of gave myself until 40 to be competing at what I hope to be a highly athletic level, and, you know, hopefully get to do more things, obviously, with the opportunities if I'm able to compete. And, you know, just have fun and other stuff, you know, whether it's jiu-jitsu or, you know, training, if they want to get into more training for power slap out at the PIs and putting in the work where people are getting trained before they even, you know, there's a process that's built. They're the same as people starting these camps, you know, be able to help with the process of building it, because, like, being here from the beginning, I just, you know, I don't see competitive-wise past 40, but work-wise, I would like to stay, you know, as a part of this for a long time. Power slap in 5 years. You know, it's already grown so fast with the following on all the social media stuff, so I really don't know how many more millions of billions of views we're gonna get, but it's gonna keep racking up, that's for sure. The social media following can only pretty much get bigger at this point because it's getting more accepted as time goes on, and people are taking it into other states. So I think once we get, you know, finally shows more so around the United States, you know, globally, we could end up in, you know, whatever country that they decide they want to, you know, tie us into. Yeah, a big shout out to my wife and kids. You know, if it wasn't for them pushing me to be able to do this stuff, and, you know, being there for me when I'm at home and when I'm out here, you know, a phone call away, or, you know, snuggled up eating popcorn, watching TV, I'm always grateful for them.